What happens when two music legends, each with decades of experience, collide over the meaning of artistic integrity and respect? You're about to find out, because what unfolded between Morris Day and Jennifer Hudson on her talk show was nothing short of explosive. The tension in the studio was so thick you could feel it from your screen. By the time it was over, one of them stormed off set in sheer frustration. Buckle up, this story is wild from beginning to end. It started simply enough. Jennifer Hudson, warm and charismatic as always, sat across from Morris Day, the iconic frontman of the time. The plan was to celebrate his new music, reminisce on his legacy, and give fans a peek into his creative journey. Morris arrived dressed in his signature flair, relaxed and ready, at least at first. "Mr. Day, it's such an honor to have you here," Jennifer began with a smile, her voice filled with genuine admiration. "I grew up listening to your music. My parents played it around the house all the time." Maurice tilted his head, smiling back. "Thank you, Jennifer. It's always nice to sit down with someone who still appreciates real music. You know, the kind that actually means something." The crowd chuckled lightly, but there was an unmistakable edge in his tone. Jennifer kept her composure and carried on with her questions, his inspiration, his process, his thoughts on the industry today. Maurice, however, quickly steered the conversation into dangerous territory. "You see, Jennifer," he said, leaning forward, "when we made music, we put our souls into it. No shortcuts, no computers doing the heavy lifting. We sang, we played, we lived it. Music wasn't about tools, it was about talent." Jennifer nodded politely, though her expression shifted just slightly. "I believe every generation has incredible talent, Maurice. Artists today are doing amazing things with the tools available to them." "Tools," Maurice repeated, almost spitting the word out. "That's the problem right there. Music isn't about tools. It's about raw, unfiltered ability. You either have it or you don't." The air tightened. The audience grew still. Jennifer's smile froze, thinner this time, attempting to redirect. She said, "Well, let's talk about your upcoming tour. Fans are excited too," but Maurice cut in, unwilling to move on. "Since we're talking about talent and authenticity, let me ask you something, Jennifer. Do you really believe these reality show winners, these contest-made stars, have what it takes to create lasting music?" The question landed like a dagger. Everyone in the room knew what he meant. Jennifer Hudson, herself an American Idol alum, turned Oscar and Grammy winner, sat silent for a beat, her expression tightening. "I think talent comes in many forms, Maurice," she replied evenly. "And success in this industry takes hard work, dedication, and yes, real talent, no matter how someone gets their start." Maurice leaned back, smirking. "That's a diplomatic answer. But we both know there's a difference between manufactured success and organic artistry. Some grind for years, building from the ground up, while others, well, they get catapulted into stardom because a TV camera happened to be on them." The audience fell silent. Jennifer's jaw clenched, her professionalism cracking just slightly. She stared directly at him now. "Morris, are you saying that artists from competition shows aren't legitimate?" "I'm not saying anything," he replied, his smile widening. "I'm stating a fact. Real artists don't wait for a platform to be given to them. They build their own." Jennifer set her cue cards aside, no longer hiding behind them. "So you're saying someone like me who came from a competition show isn't a real artist?" Morris shrugged, feigning innocence. "Your words, not mine. But since you brought it up, how many songs did you write before that show? How many instruments did you master? How many years did you spend grinding in small clubs before the spotlight found you?" The tension was suffocating now. Jennifer's eyes burned as she shot back. "You're confusing opportunity with talent. Yes, I got my start on American Idol, but everything I've accomplished since then, every stage, every award, every performance was earned through hard work." "Was it," Maurice pressed, relentless, "or was it the machine? Record deals, waiting, promotions lined up, connections handed to you on a silver platter?" The audience gasped. Jennifer leaned forward, her voice steady but sharp. "Maurice, don't mistake the way someone starts for the reason they succeed. Because if that's the case, then maybe you should ask yourself what machine pushed you forward back in the day." The studio erupted. Jennifer's voice rose, sharper now, her composure fraying. "That is incredibly disrespectful. Morris, I've worked my tail off for everything I've achieved. I've won an Oscar, I've won Grammys, and I've earned every single one of them through talent and effort." Morris waved a dismissive hand, smirking. "Awards don't mean much when they're handed out like participation trophies. Back in my day, you had to prove yourself before anyone thought about recognition." That barb landed hard. Jennifer's eyes flashed. "Participation trophies. Are you serious right now? You're questioning my legitimacy as an artist, when I've proven myself time and time again across multiple fields." "Multiple fields," Maurice echoed mockingly, dragging out the words. "And that's the problem. Real artists dedicate themselves to perfecting one craft. They don't scatter themselves across movies, television, whatever keeps them in the spotlight. Jennifer leaned forward, nearly rising from her chair. So now you're criticizing me for being versatile, for growing, for challenging myself, for expanding as an artist? Maurice sat motionless, calm as stone, which only fueled her anger. Further, I'm not criticizing, Jennifer. I'm just pointing out the difference between someone who devotes their life to music and someone who treats it as just another option. The room was ice-cold. Cameras kept rolling. The audience, caught between disbelief and awe. Jennifer's hands gripped the arms of her chair. Her voice trembled, whether from rage or pain. No one could tell. You know what, Maurice? I've shown you nothing but respect this entire interview. And you've done nothing but belittle me and insult my career. I haven't insulted anyone, Morris replied smoothly. I've simply spoken my truth about what real artistry looks like compared to today's manufactured entertainment. Jennifer's eyes narrowed, her jaw set. Your truth is outdated, and frankly, it's bitter. You're trying to diminish my accomplishments because you feel threatened by artists who found success differently than you. For the first time, Maurice's composure cracked, his eyebrows lifting, almost amused. Threatened by a reality show contestant. He chuckled, then added, I don't think so, sweetheart. The word snapped the last thread holding Jennifer's patience. She shot to her feet. Don't you dare call me sweetheart, she spat, her voice slicing through the studio. I am a professional. I am your host. I am not some little girl you can patronize. The audience gasped. Maurice blinked, genuinely surprised at the ferocity, but instead of retreating, he smirked again. Whoa, calm down. I was just being friendly. Friendly. Jennifer's laugh was short and cutting. You've spent 10 minutes dismissing my work, questioning my legitimacy, and now you want to call that friendly? That's not friendly, Morris, that's disrespect. The camera crew captured every twitch of his face as he shifted in his seat, clearly rattled but refusing to concede. Look, I'm just telling the truth about the music business. If you can't handle an honest conversation about artistry, maybe you shouldn't be interviewing real musicians. Jennifer's eyes blazed. Real musicians? Are you suggesting I'm not one? I've sold millions of records, I've shared stages with legends, and I've been honored by every major institution in this country. Morris waved his hand again, that same dismissive flick that made her blood boil. Selling records doesn't make you a musician, Jennifer. Having the right TV platform and a strong marketing machine isn't the same as being an artist. That was it? Jennifer shoved back her chair and stood fully, her palms flat on her desk. You know what, Morris, I've had enough. You came on my show. You accepted my invitation, and you've sat here disrespecting me and everything I've worked for. What gives you the right? The right. Morris barked a laugh, cold and jagged. 40 years in this business gives me the right. Being part of a group that actually changed music gives me the right. Creating something original instead of covering other people's songs on national television, that gives me the right. The last line hit like a sledgehammer. Everyone knew what he was referencing. Jennifer's face flushed red. You want to talk about originality, Morris? Let's talk. How many of your biggest hits were written by Prince? How much of your legacy exists because you wrote his genius? The studio gasped. For the first time, Morris's face fell, stunned into silence. The mention of Prince hit Morris like a slap. For the first time all night, his composure cracked, anger flashed in his eyes. Excuse me, he snapped. Prince and I were collaborators. Partners, we built something revolutionary together. Collaborators, Jennifer shot back, her words like bullets. From where I'm standing, Prince wrote the songs, produced the albums, and crafted the image. So if we're talking about manufactured success and writing someone else's genius, maybe you should look in the mirror. Morris shoved back his chair, the wheels screeching against the floor. You don't know what you're talking about. Prince and I had a creative partnership that lasted decades. We influenced an entire generation. Oh, I respect that, Jennifer said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. But isn't it a little hypocritical to sit here questioning my authenticity when your biggest claim to fame is being tied to his? Morris's face reddened. That's completely different, and you know it. Prince and I grew up together. In Minneapolis, we created a sound. That's not the same as winning a TV contest and being handed a career. Jennifer laughed bitterly. Handed to me. Do you think American Idol was easy? Do you think years of training, relentless performances, competing against insanely talented people, do you think that was handed to me? Yeah, Morris said. Flatly, I do. You sang other people's hits in front of a panel, looking for the next marketable face. That's not artistry. That's auditioning. The words landed like a dagger. Even the crew shifted uncomfortably, eyes darting at one another. Behind the cameras, Jennifer's producer was making frantic gestures. Desperate to cut the tension, Jennifer's voice dropped to a low, dangerous calm. You know what, Morris? I invited you here to talk about your music, to celebrate your career. Instead, you've spent the entire time tearing me down. I'm not tearing anyone down, he said, crossing his arms. I'm telling the truth, the difference between earned success and manufactured success. If that makes you uncomfortable, maybe ask yourself why. Jennifer's restraint snapped. What makes me uncomfortable is being disrespected on my own show. What makes me uncomfortable is being lectured on authenticity by someone who lived off Prince's genius. Morris's expression darkened, his voice suddenly booming. Don't you ever question my relationship with Prince. You weren't there, you don't know, and you have no right to diminish my journey. And you, Jennifer fired back, have no right to diminish mine. The difference between us, Maurice, is that I've never needed to put others down to validate my success. Maurice stepped closer to the desk, his presence looming. The difference between us is I earned my place in music history. Decades of innovation, decades of creating you. You got famous singing covers on TV. The studio froze silent, suffocating. This wasn't just an interview anymore. Jennifer met his glare, her voice steady but laced with fury. I cannot believe the level of disrespect. I've achieved things most artists only dream of through hard work, dedication, and yes, talent. Real talent. Maurice smirked. If you say so. Those 4 words were the spark to the powder keg. Jennifer's voice exploded. If I say so, let me tell you something about saying so. I've proven it on Broadway, in film, on stage, on records. I've proven it every single day of my career. Maurice rolled his eyes, a move so dismissive, it set her off further. Yes, my resume, Jennifer snapped, her voice echoing through the studio. Because, unlike some, I don't need to live in the past or tear others down to feel relevant. My resume speaks for itself, and if that bothers you, that's your problem, not mine. Morris laughed, the sound bitter and sharp. Your resume was written by producers and executives chasing dollar signs. Mine was written by audiences who experienced something real. Something real. Jennifer's voice shot upward, trembling with fury. You want real. Real is standing on that stage week after week, singing my heart out while millions of people judged every note. Real is earning every single vote, every single fan, every single opportunity I've had since. That's real. Morris * Jennifer's voice shook with intensity as she pressed forward. Real, she said, her hand flat on the desk. Real is taking one opportunity and turning it into a career that spans music, film, and Broadway. Real is winning an Oscar for my very first movie role because I gave everything I had to that character. Morris gave a scoff, shaking his head dismissively. Please, these days anyone can cry on screen and take home an Oscar. Standards aren't what they used to be. That single remark was the breaking point. Jennifer's face hardened, fury replacing every trace of restraint. Get out, Morris blinked, almost laughing in disbelief. What? I said get out, Jennifer repeated, her arm raised, pointing toward the exit. This interview is over. I will not sit here and let you belittle me, my career, or my achievements any longer. The room went dead silent as Maurice scanned the studio, his expression caught somewhere between shock and arrogance. You're seriously kicking me off your show for telling the truth about this industry. I'm kicking you off. Jennifer shot back, her voice controlled but trembling with rage. Because you've turned this into a personal attack. This was supposed to be about your music. Instead, you've spent the entire time disrespecting me. Morris straightened his jacket with a smug tilt of his chin. This is exactly what I mean. Artists today can't handle criticism. Everything has to be fake smiles and sugarcoating. Jennifer's eyes widened with disbelief. Criticism, is that what you call this? You've been tearing me down from the second you sat in that chair. That's not criticism, Maurice, that's cruelty. I'm not cruel, Maurice replied flatly. I'm honest. And if you can't take honesty about how you got here, maybe you shouldn't be in this business at all. Jennifer's restraint cracked like glass. Don't you dare tell me where I belong. I've earned my place through talent, sacrifice, and work you wouldn't even understand because you're too busy clinging to the past. Morris turned for the exit but paused, delivering one last blow. And that's the problem with the present. Manufactured stars who think a contest makes them legends. When the cameras are gone, when the labels move on, what lasts is real artistry. And when that happens, some of us will still be here. You, not so much. He strode out, ignoring the murmurs of the audience. Jennifer stood frozen behind her desk, shaking with anger. The crew looked stunned, the crowd unsure whether to clap or stay silent. Jennifer exhaled sharply and forced herself to face the cameras. Well, she said, her voice tight but composed. I guess that's one way to end an interview. She leaned forward, her professionalism cutting through the storm. To our audience, I want to sincerely apologize. That was not the respectful conversation I intended to bring to this stage. I've always believed there's room in this industry for artists from every path. What matters isn't how we begin, what we create, and the connection we make. With people, disagreement is fine, disrespect is not. The weight of her words hung heavy in the studio. Jennifer looked tired, raw, like someone who'd just fought a battle she hadn't seen coming. Music, she said softly, is supposed to bring us together, to inspire and uplift. What just happened here was the opposite of that. She steadied herself, looking into the camera one final time. Let this be a reminder. We don't need to tear each other down to prove our worth. There is enough space and music for all of us. The audience finally erupted some clapping, others whispering about the chaos they'd just witnessed. It was a moment no one would forget, a clash between two powerful voices who couldn't find common ground. So what do you think? Was Morris Day being brutally honest, or was he completely out of line? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more unforgettable showdowns from the world of music.